You do not feel lost because you are broken. You feel lost because your direction has dissolved. There is a difference. One implies damage, the other implies drift. And drift can be corrected faster than you think if you are willing to confront the real cause. Most people mistake confusion for complexity. They believe their life is tangled because circumstances are overwhelming. In truth, confusion often begins with one simple failure: the absence of a definite aim. Have you noticed how clear you feel when you are chasing something specific? Even hardship feels purposeful when the direction is defined. But remove the target, and every obstacle feels heavier. Feeling lost is not a sign that you lack ability. It is a signal that your mind has too many competing instructions. One part of you wants growth, another wants safety, another wants approval. Competing desires create internal noise. That noise exhausts you. It makes simple decisions feel overwhelming. It turns small setbacks into identity crises. You begin questioning your worth when the real problem is scattered focus. The world contributes to this confusion. Endless options, endless comparison, endless opinions about what you should be doing. When you listen to all of them, you stop hearing yourself. You feel lost because you have allowed external voices to drown out your internal directive. And without a clear internal directive, the mind drifts. Drift produces anxiety. Anxiety produces hesitation. Hesitation produces stagnation. And stagnation convinces you that something is wrong with you. But here is the truth most never discover. You can interrupt this cycle quickly, not in months, not in years, in minutes, if you know where to aim your attention. Clarity does not require a new personality. It requires a new decision. The moment you define a single specific objective, mental fog begins to lift. Have you ever written down exactly what you want, clearly, precisely, without apology? Most people never do. They keep goals vague, and vague goals create vague effort. When the aim is undefined, the brain cannot organize itself around it. It jumps from possibility to possibility, chasing stimulation instead of building momentum. To fix yourself, you must first stop blaming circumstance. Lost is not a permanent condition. It is a temporary absence of direction. Imagine giving your mind one clear command, one definite purpose, one measurable step to take today. Notice how quickly urgency replaces confusion. The mind loves precision. It thrives on instruction. When you remove ambiguity, you remove half the emotional burden. You do not need to solve your entire future tonight. You need to define your next move, the next action that aligns with your chosen aim. When you do this, something shifts internally. Confidence does not return because circumstances improved. It returns because you reclaimed control of direction. The reason you feel lost is not mysterious. It is practical. You have not been specific enough with yourself. You have not commanded your own mind. In this lesson, you will learn how to interrupt mental drift in under 30 minutes, how to clarify your aim, how to align your thoughts with it, how to regain momentum immediately. You are not stuck. You are unfocused. And focus can be restored faster than you were led to believe. When a man says he feels lost, he usually assumes something within him is damaged. He searches his past for mistakes, his character for weakness, his circumstances for unfairness. Yet in most cases, nothing is broken. What is missing is direction. A ship without a compass is not defective. It is uncharted. An uncharted motion produces anxiety. Confusion is rarely the result of complexity. It is the result of divided desire. One part of you wants achievement, another wants safety, another seeks approval. These voices compete. The mind, receiving contradictory instructions, produces noise. That noise feels like uncertainty. In truth, it is conflict. You do not feel lost because you lack ability. You feel lost because you have not issued one commanding order to your own mind. Without a definite chief aim, the brain wanders from interest to interest, from plan to plan, mistaking movement for progress. Consider how clear life feels when you pursue something specific. Even hardship becomes tolerable when it serves a known purpose. Remove that purpose, and minor inconveniences feel unbearable. Direction gives meaning to effort. The man who changes ambitions every season does not lack talent. He lacks commitment. His energy disperses before it compounds. He invests in beginnings, but rarely remains long enough to harvest results. 10 years may vanish in this pattern alone. Edwin C. Barnes was not confused about his desire to become associated with Thomas Edison. His aim was singular and exact. That precision eliminated inner debate. His circumstances were humble, yet his direction was firm. He was not lost, though he possessed little. He was directed. The mind demands instruction. When you fail to provide one clear objective, it attempts to satisfy multiple impulses. This produces emotional fatigue. Decisions become difficult because no standard exists by which to measure them. Internal contradiction exhausts more energy than external labor. When you desire growth yet cling to safety, you experience tension. When you seek independence yet crave constant approval, you divide your own power. Others can sense this division. They may not articulate it, but they perceive hesitation in your tone and uncertainty in your conduct. A person without clear direction appears unsettled even in simple matters. Conversely, when a man defines one clear aim, even before he achieves it, something changes. His speech becomes more deliberate. His posture steadies. His decisions quicken. Clarity projects confidence long before success arrives. You can interrupt drift immediately. Take pen and paper. Write one objective that matters above all others. Not a vague desire for improvement. Not a general wish for happiness. A specific aim stated in precise language. When the aim is written clearly, mental fog begins to lift. The brain now possesses a central instruction. It organizes thought around that command. Anxiety diminishes because ambiguity diminishes. You need not solve your entire future tonight. You need only define the next destination. Precision reduces emotional burden more effectively than prolonged contemplation. The majority never perform this simple act. They speak of ambition abstractly, yet avoid defining it exactly. Vague goals create vague effort. Vague effort produces inconsistent results. Inconsistent results reinforce confusion. 10 years may be saved by choosing early. 20 by refusing to revise constantly. 30 by sustaining one purpose long enough to produce mastery. Notice how relief accompanies decision. Even if the road ahead appears demanding, it feels navigable. The mind prefers direction with difficulty over comfort with uncertainty. Affirm now, I choose one definite purpose. My mind obeys my command. I release divided desire. Repeat this aloud morning and night. Repetition instructs the subconscious mind. The instruction, repeated with conviction, becomes expectation. Expectation shapes action. Drift convinces you that you are incapable. Direction reveals that you were simply undecided. The difference is profound. A man with a clear aim does not waste energy questioning his identity daily. His identity becomes tied to his purpose. Temporary defeat becomes adjustment, not collapse. You may have felt lost for months or even years, yet the correction may occur within minutes, not because circumstances changed, but because command returned. Look honestly at your recent past. How often have you changed your objective? How often have you pursued stimulation rather than sustained direction? Each change delayed momentum. Momentum requires consistency. Consistency requires clarity. Clarity requires decision. Others will respond differently once your direction is fixed. They will treat you as serious. They will listen more attentively. Opportunity often gravitates toward the person who appears certain. The world respects direction even before it rewards it. If you desire to save 10 years of wandering, choose tonight. If you wish to save 20, commit firmly and review daily. If you intend to save 30, refuse to entertain competing ambitions without deliberate evaluation. You are not broken, you are divided. End division, and you end confusion. The first step in regaining clarity is not self-analysis, it is self-command. Write your aim. Speak it. Attach emotion to it. Act upon it immediately in one small but definite way. The fog will lift because the mind now has a destination. And once a destination exists, even a long journey feels purposeful. You do not need a new personality. You need a clear directive. Issue it now. For the moment you define your aim without apology, you cease being lost and begin being directed. After you understand that feeling lost is the absence of a definite aim, you must confront another truth equally unsettling. Many who feel lost have surrendered the right to decide their own direction. They have handed authority to outside voices without realizing it. Every opinion you accept without examination becomes a quiet command. When enough commands accumulate, your own directive is drowned. You begin to chase approval rather than purpose. This produces confusion disguised as openness. Comparison is one of the most destructive influences when direction is undefined. When you compare your progress to another man whose aim differs from yours, dissatisfaction grows. You attempt to borrow ambition rather than define your own. Borrowed ambition feels exciting for a moment, but it does not endure. Because it did not originate within you, it lacks conviction. The result is another abandoned path and deeper confusion. Endless options intensify this condition. When you attempt to consider every possible future simultaneously, the mind freezes. It hesitates not from inability, but from overload. Without a central aim, every alternative feels equally urgent. The erosion of self-trust begins quietly. Each time you consult others before consulting yourself, you weaken inner authority. Each time you delay action to gather more approval, you strengthen doubt. Consider Henry Ford. When critics declared his ideas impractical, he did not surrender direction to public opinion. He listened selectively, but returned always to his own definite purpose. That steadiness produced achievement. Contrast the reactive individual with the directive one. The reactive adjusts daily to the loudest voice. The directive listens, evaluates, and then returns to his own command. One drifts with influence. The other stands within it. When you allow comparison and opinion to dictate your movement, you feel lost because your path shifts constantly. You chase what appears admirable in others rather than what is authentic to you. 10 years may be lost to chasing trends, 20 to seeking universal approval, 30 to measuring progress by borrowed standards. Reclaim authority deliberately. Limit exposure to voices that cloud your clarity. Reduce comparison until your own aim feels strong enough to withstand it. Ask yourself, if no one else existed to observe me, what would I pursue? The answer reveals more truth than 100 opinions. Selective listening is discipline. You need not reject all counsel, but you must filter it through your chosen purpose. If advice contradicts your aim, weigh it carefully before accepting it. The subconscious mind obeys repeated influence. If you repeat criticism internally, you magnify it. If you repeat your own directive, you strengthen it. Affirm daily, my direction is chosen by me. I listen carefully, but I decide firmly. My purpose is not borrowed. Repeat this until it feels natural. The mind must relearn obedience to its rightful master. Notice the relief that follows reclaimed authority. Decisions feel lighter because they align with one central aim. Comparison loses its sting because you no longer measure yourself against paths you did not choose. Others will detect the change. Your tone will reflect certainty rather than apology. Your actions will appear deliberate rather than reactive. Confidence becomes visible even before results manifest. When you reclaim authority, you shorten the road dramatically. Instead of wandering through borrowed ambitions, you walk steadily toward your own. 10 years saved by silencing comparison, 20 by refusing to revise your aim to please others, 30 by sustaining inner command through seasons of criticism. The world will continue offering opinion. It will suggest alternatives. It will praise one path and question another. Yet none of these voices can override your directive unless you permit it. Feeling lost is often the consequence of too many captains steering one ship. Choose one captain, yourself. Return to your written aim. Review it without outside commentary. Ask whether it still reflects your desire. If it does, defend it through action. You cannot eliminate all influence, but you can regulate its repetition. Repetition forms belief. Belief shapes direction. Reclaim your mental sovereignty. Decide whose voice governs your future. For the moment you cease chasing borrowed ambition, confusion weakens. And when confusion weakens, direction strengthens. You are not without guidance. You are simply overdue in reclaiming it. Do so now, because once authority returns to its rightful place, the path before you becomes clearer with each step. Once you recognize that you are not broken but divided, and that you have surrendered authority to outside voices, the correction must be practical. Clarity does not descend like a sudden revelation. It is constructed through decision. Waiting for perfect certainty prolongs drift. The mind requires instruction. Without it, it circles endlessly among possibilities. Therefore, the first act of reorientation is written definiteness. Take a sheet of paper and write in exact terms what you now choose to pursue. Do not write what sounds impressive. Do not write what others expect. Write what you will commit to. Precision is essential. I want success is meaningless. I will build this specific enterprise, or I will master this definite skill, commands attention. The act of writing transforms desire into declaration. The brain treats written instruction as more serious than passing thought. When you write clearly, your mind begins to organize around the statement. The next act is equally important. Define one measurable step to take today. Not tomorrow, not after further reflection. Today, a phone call, a plan drafted, a skill practiced. Movement interrupts confusion. Anxiety thrives in inactivity. Reflection without action multiplies doubt. Action, even small action, restores authority. When you act, you demonstrate to your subconscious mind that the decision is real. Consider the man who has spent months uncertain about his vocation. In 30 minutes, he writes his chosen aim and enrolls in training that same day. The internal shift is immediate. The future may still hold difficulty, but direction now exists. Emotion strengthens commitment. Read your written aim aloud. Attach feeling to it. Visualize its completion. The subconscious responds to emotion more than logic. When Edwin C. Barnes declared his intention to become associated with Edison, he did not merely think it casually, he infused it with belief. That belief sustained him through humble beginnings. The visible shift after decisive movement is remarkable. Others perceive increased energy. Your speech becomes firmer. Your hesitation decreases. Even your posture reflects determination. You need not solve every obstacle in advance. You need only move in alignment with your aim. The mind gains confidence from progress, not from speculation. 10 years may be saved by acting today instead of deliberating endlessly. 20 by refusing to postpone the first step. 30 by repeating this discipline whenever drift appears. Many wait for certainty before acting. In truth, certainty often follows action. Confidence is built through execution, not contemplation. Review your written statement morning and night. Adjust only with serious consideration, not with passing emotion. Stability of aim builds strength. Affirm, I act now upon my chosen purpose. Clarity strengthens me with each step. Movement replaces confusion. Repeat this until action becomes habitual. The habit of immediate execution protects against relapse into uncertainty. The mind loves precision. When you remove ambiguity, You remove half the burden of confusion. Your energy no longer scatters among alternatives. The 30-minute act of writing and moving may appear simple, yet simplicity does not diminish power. Most men never perform it. Drift feels complex because it lacks command. Command simplifies. It gives the mind a single direction in which to travel. Do not